there's been news that has come out recently that the real estate market sales are down. I mean, housing sales are essentially down year over year, month over month. And Home Depot got hammered. Their stock prices got hammered because of less fix and flip. So what does that mean? What does that mean for you and I as real estate wholesalers? How can we, first off, what indicator do we look at? What that we want to make sure we watch every single month? And how does that affect us? And what do we need to do to adjust in our business to make sure that we're timely? So the indicator we look at for real estate, pretty much any real estate is inventory, right? Inventory is the most important numbers that we want to look at. And there's a couple different numbers we want to look at. We want to look at the current available inventory on the market. We want to look at the month's supply, right? The month's supply. And I believe, I looked last month, but Phoenix has about 2.3 months supply on the market. And right now, I believe we have about 18,000 units, 16 to 18,000 units on the market available here. And I'm just talking about Phoenix in general. Your market obviously is going to be different, and that's what you want to watch is your inventory, and look at your inventory if it's increasing, if it's stable, or is it decreasing, right? Now, I'll give an example when it comes to inventory. In 2005, when the market was insanely on fire, people were selling houses in a matter of minutes. They would hit the MLS. They would have multiple, 5, 6, sometimes 10 offers would come in. Home builders would auction the right to purchase a property, right? So they would auction the right to purchase, so that was back in 2005. Now, the inventory back in 2005 was roughly 5,000 units. So there is 5,000 units on the market, and it was insane, right? That's it. Now, in 2008, as a perspective, in 2008, when the market sucked, houses plummeted in value. There are houses in Maryvale, which is a submarket of Phoenix, that went from $220,000 down to $40,000 in Phoenix. And the reason why is the inventory shot from 5,000 units all the way up to 50,000 units. So the inventory number shot up literally 10 times from where it was back in 2005. So what did that do to pricing? What did that do for us as real estate wholesalers? Now, stupid me, right? I owned about 120 houses in the height of the market, and my brilliant move was I sold all 120 houses in 2005 and early 2006. My brilliant move is I sold all 120, $36 million worth of properties in the height of the market in 2005, made millions of dollars. It's insane. And then what happened was we had a friend of mine who got me into land, and without knowing, without looking at the real estate market, without consulting, without, we didn't have stuff like Instagram, back then, and we could do some market research. And I was just blindly went into buying land. We bought about $30 million worth of land at the time, and that was a bad move because land has no cash flow, right? So the bottom line is what happened, and I got out of wholesaling. I got out of my core, and I spent most of my time working on these large land projects, which was stupid. I got away from actually what was working. So the bottom line is that the inventory went from 5,000 units in 2005 to 50,000 units in 2008. And now it is slowly decreased from 50,000 units to now, and I'm talking about Phoenix here, but that's all relative to your market, is now we're roughly at about 16 to 17,000 units on the market, right? So as real estate wholesalers, inventory is our indicator of how we, what we offer to sellers and what we sell our properties to buyers. Now, I always talk about, and you probably heard me talk about the 4 numbers we need in our real estate wholesaling business. We need to know what the retail value is, all fixed up. That's called ARV, after repair value. We have to know our exit number. That's the number we're going to sell the property for into the market. We also want to know our max allowable offer. So that's incredibly important. And also we want to know our goal target number, so we can start at a goal target number, move up to our max allowable. The problem is people start at the max allowable and they move up into close to their exit number, and they wonder why they have wholesale fees of $5,000, $10,000, $3,000, $5,000. Is because they start at the max allowable and move into close to their exit number. So that being said, knowing those 4 numbers, what changes as the real estate market changes, right? Our exit number changes. That is the number that changes on what we can sell the property for. Now, to give you an example, super hot market, we were selling properties at upwards to 80, 83, 85% of that value. So our max allowable, our exit number is going to be 85% of what that ARV is after repair value. Now that over the past about 18 months has come down to where now we're down into the 72, 73%, obviously depending on how much work the property needs, right? So why is that coming down like that? Because inventory is stabilized and slightly increasing. So as inventory stabilizes and slightly increases, that's gonna make us adjust our exit number when it comes to selling our properties to a buyer. So here's the beautiful thing. And here's the thing, if you guys are fixing and flipping properties, if you have a huge fix and flip business, if you're taking out hard money and investing a bunch of money in fix and flip, make sure you have a significant amount of spread in the property. Meaning, for us, for an example, our minimum when it comes to fixing and flipping properties, for us to pull the trigger, our minimum is it has to have $100,000 spread on the worst case scenario. If it has a $100,000 spread on the worst case scenario, then we'll pull the trigger. Why? Because we want to have significant amount of spread in the deal. Now we're talking about a $300,000 to $500,000 house that we're fixing and flipping. If you're fixing and flipping $150,000 house, obviously it's going to be difficult to get a $100,000 spread on a $100,000 house. But make sure you have a significant amount of spread in that deal when you do that. So that being said, I would not be looking at fixing and flipping and ramping up a fix and flip business right now. I'd be winding down a fix and flip business right now, and I would be primarily focusing spread. Spread means the difference in between what you're in it for and what you're selling it for, right? So if you're in it for 100 and you're selling it for 200, that's $100,000 spread, right? In it for means what you're all in for, your purchase cost, everything, your cost of cost of the entire renovation. So if you are fixing and flipping, I definitely wind that down. If you are and move into the wholesaling business, right? And obviously wholesaling is where we don't have risk, right? Our risk is our marketing money, and our risk is is the actual marketing. That's our primary risk in the business. But as the market decreases, we're going to be offering less to sellers and then selling them slightly higher to buyers, right? So for an example, in 2000, when the market's on fire, we would acquire, right? And we could exit properties at 85%, and we could basically sign a contract with a seller at 80% of the retail value. So we could make 5 points on the deal. So if it's a $200,000 house, you could make, $10 grand on the deal. sometimes a lot more than that, typically sometimes 10 points, because we get the property about 70-75% and make 10 points. We're talking $200,000, $20,000 on a $200,000 house. That's a pretty good spread. So what can you do? What can you do to look at the market, and how can you make sure that you are staying abreast of what's happening and how to be in the front of it, versus being kind of caught with your pants down, I could say. And what I could say is watch the inventory, watch your current inventory, the current available units on the market. Look at where it was last month, look where it was last quarter, and look where it was last year. Now, where do you get this information? From a local realtor. A local realtor can pull all the MLS currently active properties on the market and give you a historic snapshot of where that was a month ago, a quarter ago, and a year ago. And you will be able to tell, are there more properties on the market than today than are a year ago? And if your market is, and the answer is no, right? And because every market's different. Vegas is going to be different from California. It's going to be different from Arizona. It's going to be different. But you can all look at inventory and see where the inventory is currently available in your market. The next number you want to look at is what's called pending sales. Pending sales is the number of properties that are currently under contract at any given time. Pending sales are incredibly important because that tells you the velocity of people making offers and getting under contract on property. So if you have a declining pending sales, obviously that is, and you have an increasing inventory, well, that's an issue, right? That is something that is an issue that could have, obviously affect your offer prices with your sellers. Now, here's another tip when you're negotiating with sellers. Look online. That report that came out from Home Depot, and Home Depot said that their stock plummeted because of, less home starts or whatever, less, because of the housing market. If you see, any type of CNBC came out with the, housing market sales at the, lowest in the past 3 months or whatever. So look for that data. Look for those articles, whether it be on Instagram, whether it be on, and you can put like housing market trends in Instagram under hashtags, and you can check under there and look for some articles, or just search online housing market 2019 update. Search that and take those articles, right? And with those articles, show them to your sellers and just say, hey, listen, market's shifting, market's changing right now. And you either can sell now to me at my offer price, or a month later, 2 months later, 3 months later, my offer is going to be 5, 10, 15, even possibly 20% lower than it is currently right now. So when you're negotiating, you got to take timely information that's coming out in the marketplace and be able to use that to inform and educate the seller on what's happening in the market, right? If a seller, and here's the interesting situation when it comes to doing deals with sellers. In signing contract with sellers, there's a equilibrium difference, right? If that's a word or something that could be translated, there's a difference between what a seller believes they can get and then what the actual market will bear. That equilibrium right there, and I don't even know if that's the right word, but I don't care. The equilibrium, there's a difference, there's a gap. So how do you close that gap with that seller? You have to educate them on the fact of how that works, right? You got to educate them. And the only way you can educate them is by showing them. You can't tell a seller that the market's shifting. You have to show them that the market's shifting. How do you show them that the market's shifting? You have to get articles. You have to get supporting information. Get that Home Depot article. Get that CNBC article that came out. Google housing market, update 2019. And then as wholesalers, we don't have to worry. All we're going to do is offer lower to a seller and sell it low. Offer low to a seller and sell it low to a buyer. And we're just going to adjust our offer price based upon where the current market's going. As the market comes down in decline, it becomes easier to get contracts. And guess what? Don't worry about buyers. There's always buyers in every single market. Back in 2008, 9, 10, we had buyers coming out of the woodworks. We had hedge funds. Blackstone came into Phoenix and bought thousands and thousands of properties. I don't know how many sold, probably hundreds, and if not 500 properties to hedge funds during 09, 10, 11, during that market crash, when the market was like literally plummeting. These guys were coming in and scooping up properties left and right. So what can you do today? You can look at your current inventory. Ask a realtor friend if you have it. Look at inventory of where it is today, where it was last month, where it was last quarter, and where it was last year. That will give you an indicator if the number is going up or the number's going down. Now, if the number's going down, no harm, no foul. Just watch it every single month, right? Just continue to make your offers, talk to sellers, use actual concrete information to negotiate with the sellers, like the articles we talk about. That'll enable you to get properties at a lower price and be able to sell them out to the marketplace. Now, it's just something you watch every month. Like your market. No, I know a guy. I got a buddy of mine who's in OKC, Oklahoma, and he is, just killing. He puts properties out in the market and they're flying off the shelf, and it's crazy. So what determines whether a property flies off the shelf? What determines is pricing, right? Is pricing in terms, right? As the market changes, just watch inventory. That's it. Don't stress about it. Don't freak out about it. Don't go, oh no, the market. And just be aware of it, right? The biggest thing is you want to be aware and you want to adjust with the market. So as the market inventory increases, you can use that data, use that information to negotiate with a seller and get better prices on properties, right? And then you're going to sell them into the market to buyers at a lower price. Instead of selling your exit number on that property, instead of being at 75%, it might be at 73, might be at 70, might be at 68. During 2008 and 2009, we were selling properties at 50% of that. And don't get worried about the market at all. Just watch it. And that's it. People are like, oh my gosh, the market's going to crash. What's happened? What are you going to do? What do I have to get out of wholesaling? Do I got to get out of real estate? If you're fixing and flipping, definitely don't get out of it. Just make sure you have huge spreads. If you're wholesaling, listen, just make a lower offer and then sell it lower to a buyer. That's it. That's the only adjustment. Now, we hold our Monday morning meetings, and every single Monday we talk about, where that number's going to be. And then we can modify and change and adapt, and we can move quickly. So God bless. Have a phenomenal day. You guys rock.